All right, guys. So for this project, hey guys. All right. So for this project, I'm gonna be sculpting myself as a caricature. Because nothing's funnier looking, in my opinion, than when I look in the mirror. So it's gonna be weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and start loading in some images. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on. Let's actually get this in here. Make Polymesh 3D, and I'm gonna go ahead and load in my grid planes. And then let's go to draw. This is a picture I did quite a while back in like 2015, something like that. I did have a cartoon of myself. And actually, if you, I need to put the videos up, but there's some videos of me actually sculpting like a cartoon version of myself a few years ago. So you guys can follow along with that if you want. So when I got that, I took a couple of shots of myself at weird angles. So I'm gonna start sculpting. The way I'm gonna be putting this together is kind of similar to how we did it before with the primitives. I'm just gonna be bringing in primitives and shaping them, and then basically keeping the primitives separated until I'm ready to go ahead and do a ZBrush or ZRemesh, or sorry, Dynamesh. A couple of things that we are going to be focusing on is making sure we sculpt the eyes separately as separate objects. There's actually an approach I go through with actually making eyeballs. And then I'm going to be doing the cavity of the mouth. Now with something like a crocodile, it's a little bit easier to like open that mouth and like just trim it out. It's not easy to do that with a human because we don't have protruding mouths. We have flat faces. So we actually have to go through and do a different approach called ballooning, where I'm actually going to cut the interior of the mouth after I've actually sculpted the face. And then lastly, we'll be doing the interior mouth parts. So the things like gums that your teeth are attached to, that's actually going to be a separate mesh that I'm going to be building as well. And then teeth are going to be a separate piece on top of that as well. So I'm going to actually have like 32 individual teeth, and we'll be making like an insert mesh brush for all of those teeth. And then we'll also make a tongue object. And like I said, the gums will basically just be like the interior of the mouth. It'll be like a separate, like almost like dentures we can kind of pull out, and we'll do that. And I guess I got to make some glasses too, because I have glasses. And then we'll do hair, beard. I feel like the beard is a kind of prominent feature on me. I can't really figure out why, but I feel like I'm gonna have to probably do a beard. And then obviously hair. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. So I'm gonna start off with a cylinder, and then let's go ahead and bring in do a pin. And I'm gonna go and pull in a sphere. And so this one, I'm gonna start kind of making a kind of a skull shape. I'll grab a insert primitives brush. There are actually two insert primitives brushes. There is this one and then this one. I don't usually use the insert primitives H. That one's usually like insert primitives, but they're all like cut in half. So I don't usually actually end up using that. So this is the one I'll usually use. Let's go ahead and grab a cube. This is a cube, but the geometry on it is actually simplified. Hit X so we can have our symmetry. Go back to the sphere, hit X also so we can have symmetry.
Add the second layer in the subtool again.
I just went to append. Yes.
Okay.
But you should still take notes. I don't know why I pointed, but take notes. Be a good student, take notes. Recording is not an excuse to not take notes. All right. So this is going to be part of the chin shape. And then I'm actually going to use one of those deformers we talked about previously, which is going to be taper. And I'm going to actually taper it out. Go back to the gear and click accept, just so I can kind of get that chin shape that's on my face. I'm going to center this pivot. I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to hit this and that'll reorient the pivot. And then I just need to recenter it. And relock that gizmo. I'll pull this up and out. So I'm sure many of you noticed my head is peanut shaped. It's fat up here, it's fat down here, it's narrow in here. Probably because not too much brains are in here. So something got pinched at some point. So I'm gonna pull that through a little bit. And push that forward just a little bit too. And then I'm gonna go and put in a couple primitives for the brow shapes. So let's do some spheres. That should have put in two. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's move you back in a little bit. And we'll go and put in a couple more spheres right here. These will be the primitives that'll make up my cheeks. Yeah, you put a couple right there and kind of work them in. At this stage, I'm not worried about the beard. Okay, this beard is going to be a completely separate object. So I'm just like, I'm trying to vainly remember what I look like without a beard, which is like very baby-like. So I'll put one right here for the chin. I'm gonna do the nose. All right, I don't feel like I got a big nose. Definitely not a big nose. It's a little bit upturned, so I need to throw that in there. Let's do. I want to do another Q cube. And so I said that this one actually has like simplified geometry. Like this is what I'm referring to. This is actually a really good primitive if you ever want to do like box modeling inside of ZBrush. This is a good one to start off with since it has so few points to actually work with. Yeah, so little nose, it's a little bit upturned. And then I got that bridge. So it basically hits like right where my brow is. Actually goes in a little bit. So let's do another primitive. Do a sphere. I'm going to be using the move tool. Again, since these are all separate polygroups, I can do control clicks and actually like isolate each one to move them if I need to. So like this one right here, I'm just going to be moving this box in just a little bit more. And since these are all separate pieces of geometry, they're easily more isolatable. Because then I can just, again, click on each one of these, move it around, and I'm not like messing with the surrounding pieces. Makes it a bit easier. Move tool, control, and then tap on whatever object you're trying to isolate. So like these right here are the same color, meaning that they're the same polygroup. So that means that these guys will be isolated all together. Whereas like this piece right here that I was using for the jaw is a separate polygroup, so it's going to be on its own. Okay.
Did you say to do the facial first before we add any of the clothes and hair?
Yeah. That's actually probably going out just a bit too much. And push that bridge in. And I don't have allergies. I'm just in here like touching my face, like trying to figure out different shapes and things. I feel like that actually helps me out quite a bit. So I'm gonna pull this up right there. Let's do a couple of nostrils. So let's do a couple more spheres. We'll put them here on the sides. Okay. I'm just going to keep shaping all of this. There's also another move tool that's going to be really useful. I'm going to show it to you. It's going to be move topological. It's next to the regular move brush. So this guy, move topological, means it's only going to move whatever you're selecting versus everything that's in the brush radius with the regular move brush. So move topological, I'm selecting just this sphere. It's only going to move just this sphere. So it's really handy for right now. Whereas again, the other one will grab everything. Okay. So this is useful. So I don't have to continuously mask off things as I'm getting denser and denser mesh going on here. I'm adding more and more stuff, and I want to maybe isolate things or select things. Smooth that out. I was just discussing that. It's so you can move just isolated objects instead of moving everything that's in the brush radius. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull out cheek shape right here. And then we'll pull out okay. Any other questions so far, guys? Okay. Let's say what? So what's taper? This? I just put that there so I could kind of start getting the basic blocking shape of my chin and mouth. Yeah, I mean, that's why I put it there. Are you talking about the fact that I used a taper on it?
The fact that you used the taper on it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I did that because it just closed in that edge or closed in that shape a little bit more. Just a quick way of going about it. I'm trying to throw in more tool sets and stuff that I've shown you guys previously, so you guys can see how I would use them for creating some of these more complex shapes. But yes, that's what I would use that for. It's going to be when you use like a move, scale, or rotate tool. It's going to be the gear right here. So it's going to be all of these deformers, and taper's one of them.
In the transform,
Yeah,
how do I access that?
it's the gear. So you got to go to the move tool, gear. All right, let's do some lips. Well, this is kind of starting to look like a Nintendo Me version of me. Okay. Shrink that down, smooth it. Then I'm going to do control, make a little duplicate right there. Go back to move topological, and then kind of just start shaping that top lip a little bit more. Kind of work with basically both the lips at that point. Okay. So I need a couple of spheres in here for the eyes. Actually, you know what, let's do it with inserts. This will be a little faster. We have to insert primitives. Yeah, let's do a couple of eyeballs. And then I'm going to go ahead and split these guys off into their own subtool. So super important, make sure you split your eyeballs off. Split the eyeballs. Otherwise, you're going to dynamesh your eyeballs into your head, and we don't want that.
What happens if I don't split them?
You dynamesh the eyeballs in your head, and we don't want that.
So you want to split it when it's still in a shape, not in like a pencil, like a palm.
Yeah, these are literally just gonna be things for me to model against for the shape of the eye. That's all it's for. Okay. All right. And then let's do maybe some neck work. All right, so I'm just kind of pulling this down into my top chest. And then out to the shoulders. And I'm gonna run let's do a zero mesher. Again, a little bit stretched right there. So the zero mesher is not the same as a Dynamesh. The zero mesher it doesn't actually like glue anything together. It's just running basically just retessellating the surface. That's all it's really doing. Okay. All right, any questions so far, guys? So far, any additional questions?
How do you split the eyeballs?
So when you're inserting them, they're masked, right? Like the rest of the head's masked. So you're gonna go to split, split unmasked or split mask points. Either one of those will split them into two separate subtools. Yeah. Okay, let's do ears. So for the ears, I'm actually going to go ahead and trim out part of the ear since I don't need like a full sphere for the ear. With the rest of the head masked, I'm going to do Control Shift. I'm going to go to Knife Lasso. I need to cut out about half of this ear. So that's going to just cut out a nice little chunk for me. Okay. You need to make sure the rest of this is masked. Otherwise, if you do it when it's not, you're going to cut out part of your face. We don't want that. Okay. So good. Control Shift. Cut it out. And let's run a geometry zero mesh on it. Okay, cool. So I just kind of rework the geometry on that just a little bit. And I'm going to go to Move Topological. And I'll start making my ear. So with the ear, that does need to be something that's actually coming off your head. A lot of times you guys, well, not you, because you haven't done this yet, but a lot of times students will just basically sculpt an ear as if it's like stuck to the side of the head. I'd like for all of you to confirm that you can indeed grab your ear and pull it away from your head. Not all the way, don't pull it too hard. But we need to confirm that you can actually do this. So therefore, we should not have any ears that are like stuck to the side of your head. Cool? Okay.
What if our hair is covering our ears?
You still need to sculpt an ear. Because you still have an ear.
What?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. 100% yes. Do not sculpt the hair as part of the main mesh. Don't do that. So that goes down about there. Here. And I'm not cool enough for any like kicking earrings or anything, so I can't put anything in there. I don't know if it looks like me, but it looks like something. So looks human-esque, I guess. All right. And I think that is going to be my base mesh for my head. So this is just, again, just us taking primitives, kind of smashing them together, warping them, moving them around, trying to get something that has a very basic look of the person you're trying to shoot for. I don't think it looks like me, maybe not much, but it could look like me at some point, a cartoon version of me. And that's just what I'm shooting for basically today, okay? So I want to give you guys some time to go ahead and kind of get to like this point, or at least get started moving towards this point, because we got about 50 more minutes in the class. So go ahead and start working and basically work towards this for basically next class, okay? So that's where I want you guys to go. Any questions about getting to this place? Yeah.
So if we're okay with your showing team, leave that space open or?
So with the mouth, I'm going to go over how to cut that mouth open. So for now, let's just go ahead and just keep the mouth closed. And so with in general, I'm always going to be sculpting things in a neutral pose. And so this is a neutral human-esque pose. But then we can add expression later on once we start, working more on that sculpt. Okay. All right. Actually, I will show you guys how to make the hair cap real quick, because that's actually really easy. So for the hair cap, we're going to be using the extraction tool, which is this guy right here. It's going to be found under subtool. All right, really easy. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just use my mask. And I'm going to mask off. Now, this is going to be for those of you guys that have hair that's generally close to the head, not like Dolly Parton hair. Like Dolly Parton, like that's going to be a completely separate sculpt. This is mainly for like, again, most guys, we have fairly short hair. So this will be for you guys that you're going to be sculpting this. And so the beard and the hair sculpt is actually for me going to be one thing, since my beard is connected to my hair. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you comparing me to Dwight Schrute. I very much appreciate that. I'll keep that in mind when I'm grading you. I'm just inverting the mask, kind of refine that shape a little bit more. Like, I don't usually keep this very much. So pull that down. I feel like this is a character that should be selling someone car insurance. Maybe that's really what I needed to be doing.
Is this the new flow?
If I had Flo's money, I don't think I'd be here, but anyway. But no, I really apparently should be selling paper, so let's go with that. All right, extract. And so that's going to give you a preview of a mesh that you could use. Go around, check, make sure it's what you want. Anytime you move it though, it's not gonna disappear, so just be aware. Thickness, you can change here. Usually I don't go above 0.02, but I think for this one, I think I need to go to 0.1. That's maybe a bit too much. Maybe 0.05. Yeah, that could work. Maybe. Do 0.03. I'll do that. All right. So you'll see what happens is it makes a new subtool. The old subtool is still sitting here, masked off. And there you go. So that's hair cap. So go ahead and make a hair cap for your character. That'll be class for today. So we'll take a look at them next class and we'll continue. Okay. Now I'm done. For next class, I'll probably just go around and check with each one of you guys. But I mean, yeah, you should have something in progress, hopefully. Yeah.
So I don't think that, so I know my mom for a while here and all that. Would you recommend doing like an abstract just as half a base just to start off with?
Who's your character again?
Gordon Ramsay.
For him, I would probably do. I would do this, and then you could start doing insert spheres and like pulling off at that point to get like that kind of like general shape. For some of you guys that have more, because like, yeah, it's not just you. There'll be several of you guys that have this. If I go to C for curve tube, you can use that to create kind of like longer strands, but if we go under stroke, curve modifiers, and turn on the size modifier, and then go to the fall off ramp, I'm going to flip it. Then you'll get something like that actually has like a taper to it. So do something like that. Now, the nice thing with this though, is since it's a curve, you can actually bend it. So if I go back under stroke, curve, we have a couple options here. We have bend start, bend end, and lock end and lock start. That's going to anchor everything. So I can basically pose it a little bit more properly. So that'll give you a mesh that you can kind of start working with, actually like shape hair a little bit more accurately. So you get those blocked in shapes pretty well. So Presley, this would be good for you, for yours.
Mhm.
That would be a good approach for yours.
The curved one
Mhm.
for his hair.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of doing.
Yeah.
Curve tube or the I'll rub the yellows.
Hey, look, it's me in my final form.